And we're live. Oh my goodness. Well, that was I have to tell you, a fascinating experience going live. I think I accidentally did some weird beta thing and it's like, you know what? I got to do the thing I understand because I just need to go live and thank everybody. So, here I am and I'm going to give some people a couple minutes to find me. So, Gaming Geek, I hope you find your way over here to where I am. So yeah, my wife is somewhere off camera and she'll be helping me catch up on comments and all that stuff. So if you don't mind sending a link, if that old one still exists, over to this one, if that's possible. I'm not sure. She's trying. Okay. Anyway, so first, it was fun. Anyway, so first off, I just want to say thank you. I want to say a huge thank you to each and every single one of you that have subscribed to Durbania. I want to say thank you to my whole YouTube community of creators. I have to do it that way because, like, the people that I've met here on YouTube, the different creators that I've known, like, it has grown so much. So I see there's 3 people watching. So I just want to say hello to you 3. Thank you so much for watching. Can you hear me? Does the audio look fine? How's the video quality? Let me know here in the live chat. Also, I want to see something pop up and just make sure everything's functioning the way that it's supposed to be functioning right now. But thank you guys so much for joining me. So thank you to my YouTube community. Yes, sir. A-okay. Looks good. Thank you, Mary Smith and Tommy Gibbons. I greatly appreciate that. So glad to have you guys here and watching. And again, thank you to everybody that has subscribed to this channel. Now, this is a live Q&A, and so I put some stuff out on social media asking, for questions for that. So before I dive into your guys who are here in the live chat with your questions, I'm going to dive into some of the questions that were posted up on my Facebook page. Glad to hear that it's working well. Thank you so much. So I'm going to dive into some of the stuff that was posted on Facebook, Instagram, and then my YouTube, community post. And then I want to take it to you guys in the live chat. Now, if I miss a question, go ahead and retype that question as many times as it takes for me to eventually see it and respond, because I really do want to hang out with you. I want to get to know you better. I want you to get to know me better. I mean, that's kind of the whole purpose of this thing. So first off, I'm going to dive into Facebook. And John Mars, he wrote this question: what was the first comic book you ever read? Honestly, it was some weird, obscure Batman and Robin comic. I don't even remember the story because it was like somewhere in the middle of the story. It ended on a cliffhanger and began. So I don't know. It left no impact on me. The first comic I read that left an impact was probably, Superman Last Son of Krypton. I think that was like the first real comic that I picked up and I really enjoyed. It's all about Zod coming to Earth and he takes Superman and locks Superman in the Phantom Zone. So like this army of Kryptonians take over the world with Superman stuck inside the Phantom Zone. So that was a really good comic. The next one that was really good, like that came right after that, is called Superman Birthright. That is awesome. And Carter the Brown, thank you so much for that. Freaking congrats. I really appreciate it. And thank you for joining me for this live stream. Nathan, a good friend of mine, he started this company, Bearded Turtle Apparel. Let me show you this real quick. This is a shirt that his company made for me. Look how awesome that is. I love it. This is another shirt that he made for me. Like, and he just kind of sent these out. So you could definitely check out Bearded Turtle Apparel on Instagram, and they got some like really cool stuff there. And I used to work with him a long time ago, back in the day when we worked at a TV station together. But he posted on Facebook. My question would be, what is your first memory of seeing a movie? And my answer is seeing The Predator. That is the first memory I have of going to the movie theater and seeing a movie. My mom loves sci-fi. She loved Arnold Schwarzenegger. Therefore, the first movie I remember seeing as a toddler is The Predator. And I remember crying and hiding my head in my dad's chest and looking down at the floor at the aisle, like the aisle lights leading up to the exit. That is my first ever memory of going to, a movie theater. So switching over here to Instagram, I have a question here from Chris Leachy. I hope I said your last name right, but he's been following me for a while and commenting on my Instagram post. So thank you so much, Chris, for joining me. And he said this: what are some of your favorite aspects of and/or scenes from the Star Wars prequels? Also, what are some of your favorite film scores of all time? I'm glad that he asked me this a little while ago so that I actually had time to think about this and write it down. Because when it comes to the prequel trilogy, they're not my favorite, but there are definitely aspects of the prequel trilogy that I like. And you'll find that all of them center around lightsaber fights. So I love in Star Wars Episode 1 where you have, Darth Maul going up against Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. I absolutely love that scene. When you dive into Star Wars Episode 2, I love it when Anakin fights Count Dooku and knocks out the power. So the only light you see is the light of the lightsabers as they're fighting each other. And I love the first chunk of the Obi-Anakin fight in Episode 3. Not where it gets all in the lava stuff, but at the very beginning of that fight. My first movie was Ninja Turtles. Well, good for you, Christopher Cooper. That is a great first movie. I dreamed about that movie before I saw it. I kid you not. I was in kindergarten and I was so excited for that movie. Thank you so much for that. Congrats on 5K. I really, really appreciate that. And so in terms of scores, continuing on Chris's question here, what are some of your favorite film scores of all time? Well, they all come from Lord of the Rings, the original Star Wars trilogy, and a lot of the new Star Wars movies that are coming out. The Dark Knight trilogy, Interstellar, really anything that Hans Zimmer has touched. I love Hans Zimmer. My wife hates Interstellar, don't you?
Oh, the movie's stupid.
She says the movie's stupid. And I thought the movie is pretty good, but I bought it for the score. Thank you, Robert, for that. Congrats. And I'm so glad you love the channel. And I'm thanking you so much for joining me here live. And let's see, moving on here. Next question, also from Instagram. No, it's not. That was my answer. Okay, we're moving over to Twitter. I love live. I can't edit anything. So on Twitter, Movie Man Loves Endgame asked me this question. What do you do for a living? Well, there are a couple of things that I do for a living. One of the things is, I do YouTube. That does not make me all the money in the world. Doesn't make me too much at all. So let me move this. There we go. Much more symmetric. Anyway, the other thing I do for a living is I'm a freelance video editor. And so, I have a company here on the Central Coast that I work with very consistently. And I've had a couple others just kind of come and go and do a few things. One of my favorite one was this YouTube channel called eBoard Stuff. And so I filmed and edited their videos. I never done anything like filming skateboarding stuff before and editing skateboard stuff. So if you check out this channel called eBoard Stuff and you like e-boarding and skateboarding and all that, it's kind of a cool channel, but I edited those videos. So that was really fun that short time I got to, work there and do stuff. So, I do the freelance video editing and I also work at a movie theater here in town. So, is that a shock to anybody that me, a movie guy, would do whatever I could to be as close to movies as possible, have my ear to the ground? So those are like a lot of the things that I do for a living. Now, on my YouTube community post, I had Jordan Sweet say, can we get a backstory video from you? Then the Gaming Geek said, I agree with Jordan Sweet. You should do a top 10 or 5 things you didn't know about Durbin. I'd watch that. All right. So I kind of boiled this down to at least a top 3. So I'll give you top 3 trivia things about my backstory. Number 1, well, maybe it's 4 things. Okay. I am from Ohio. Number 2, I have worked in radio for 14 years. I used to be huge into radio broadcasting. I started when I was a junior in high school. I worked at this Christian hard rock station called Radio U way, way, way back in the day. And I worked there for 7 long years. And they also have a TV station. Back then it was called TVU and it's a music video network, but they switched it over and it's called Radio U TV. You can find it on Roku and stuff. And so I used to run camera and I used to floor direct, and I was a weird personality on there called Special Chris. My first name is Chris. And when I was on that network, I was out of high school, just starting college. So take my energy and make it totally much younger and 100% unbridled. And so that's why they gave me that crazy nickname. But man, I had a blast working there. And then, I've worked at 3 different radio stations and they brought me out here to California. So for 14 years, before I did this YouTube thing and all this video stuff, I was a radio guy with a little bit of a TV background. I already said I am from Ohio, and I was an extra on The Big Bang Theory. In season 2, towards the end, when Penny goes to the comic book store for the very, very, very first time, and she walks into the doors of the comic book store and all the nerds look up and go, if you look closely, I'm one of those faces. They didn't call me back. They called back some of the other nerds, but I think they saw this wedding ring. And I think this wedding ring, because I couldn't get it off, it's not as nerdy. So anyway, that was kind of fun. I was an extra on The Big Bang Theory. Jordan Moran, he posted this also on my YouTube community post. Top 5 comic book adaptations with MCU and DC. So Man of Steel, because it's a good adaptation of Earth 1. It borrows a little bit from Birthright as well. I just put the MCU as the next one. Like, I haven't read too much Marvel, but I love the MCU. I love what they've done. I love how Kevin Feige is telling that story. So I just put the MCU. Aquaman, I was never an Aquaman fan until the movie. So I think that's a fantastic adaptation. Justice League War. If you haven't seen that animated movie, that is a great comic book adaptation. And then the death and reign of this, like the death of Superman and the reign of the Superman. Those are fantastic comic book adaptations, and I love those so much. All right, let's see here. You should do a top 10 MCU moments video. I'm trying to make that list myself, and it's a challenge for sure. Haha. Yeah, Robert, that would be a challenge. So I'm gonna have to think about that because I have thought about that, but the MCU, that's a lot, but a good challenge to take up eventually. Another question I got here from Power Up Productions said, what would you like to see from the MCU after Endgame? Well, I already want to see Spider-Man Far From Home, and we know we're getting that. I also want to see the Asgardians of the Galaxy. I do want that Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I so badly want to see how Thor is going to, be woven into it and being part of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm very much looking forward to that. I do not know much about the Eternals, but it sounds interesting, and I'm curious to see what that's going to be. What else do I really want to see? Honestly, Jim from The Office, I want to see him be Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four. Post Endgame, that's what I want to see. I want one more Fantastic Four reboot in the hands of Marvel because I have not liked any of the Fantastic Four movies. But even in the movies I don't like, I've always liked the characters. So I would very much like to see the MCU take the first family back and then build a franchise around that. So yeah, it's one more reboot, which is kind of annoying. But you know what? Worth it. Totally. Oh, that's it. Hey, I just went through all the questions everybody already posted. And my wife is ready to give me a whole bunch of questions that you guys have done in the live chat. So Laura, what's the first one?
Gaming Geek wants to know if you can do Endgame spoilers in this, or if you would like not to.
Ooh, Gaming Geek. If we're going to do in-game spoilers, before we do it, make sure you write spoilers in all caps, give some space there, and then, I will definitely have to say a loud spoiler. You know what? Actually, that's too complicated. I'm going to post another spoiler video for in-game tomorrow, so check that out tomorrow. Let's try to talk about in-game without spoilers because there really are still people that haven't seen it, and why risk it? Let's be nice in the comments, and let's be nice as we're going live. Laura, what's the next one?
Destructive86 wants to know who would win in a fight, Captain America or Batman?
Who would win in a fight, Captain America or Batman? Oh, man. I'm going to say Captain America, but it would be super close because Batman is more than just strength. I mean, he's incredibly smart. So with his smartness, with his tactics, he'd be able to improvise. He'd be able to figure out a way to defeat Captain America. Like, he truly would be able to figure that out. I really believe that. But honestly, I just, Captain America. I mean, he's got that heart of gold and he's got that strength and he also has the smarts. So I really think it's going to be Captain America. Hey, when Laura asked me the questions, were you guys able to hear her off to the side or should she move closer? Just tossing that out there for you. Laura, what's the next question?
SeaWorld Man just wants to let you know that he loves the poster setup.
Thank you, SeaWorld Man. Actually, this is the brainchild of my wife and myself. Like, I noticed my old set was getting very cluttered. And so I wanted to find a way to keep kind of my personality up here, but declutter it. And so, like, my wife saw some of these wood posters. She goes, why don't you just do a wood poster wall? And so that's what these are, these wood posters up here. So thank you. I'm glad you like it. Half of this was Laura's idea. What's the next one, Laura?
Dolphin Dude 1 wants to know what you think of Inception, Sausage Party, and Peter Rabbit 2018.
Okay, well, could you move a little bit closer, Laura? You don't have to be on camera. They just said you're a little bit quiet.
Okay.
And
do I need to repeat my question?
Yes.
Dolphin Dude 1 wants to know what you think of Inception, Sausage Party, and Peter Rabbit 2018.
Inception, I really enjoyed it. It's not my favorite movie, but Inception is a good movie. Sausage Party is stupid. It is stupid as snot. And I think I would like it, but it's blatantly just an attack like on faith and trying to give this message of like, yeah, let's just all have big giant orgies or something. I don't know. It was like, it just felt rude. You know what I mean? It just felt like it was trying to argue, but in the rudest possible way, even though the message was kind of, you can disagree, but you don't have to be rude. The whole film was just kind of mean about its statement of where it's at. So I didn't like that. What was the last movie?
Peter Rabbit.
Did not. I've seen parts of it with my nephews and kind of walked in and out, and it didn't hold my interest. Not to say that it's bad. Probably if I watched it all the way through, I might enjoy it. Did you watch it, Laura?
I did. I thought it was cute.
Laura thought it was cute. Okay, what's our next question, Laura?
Movie Man wants to know what your favorite steelbook is.
Ooh, Movie Man wants to know what my favorite steelbook is. Is Laura sounding better to you guys? Let me know that. Let's see. Here's the funny thing. I think the Justice League Steelbook is probably my favorite one because I love the art on it. The movie, not so great, but the artwork on that Steelbook is really good. Like, I was super excited to open that in the mail and go, look how cool this looks. And then watch the movie and go, oh. But the Steelbook was really, really cool. Chandler's videos, thank you. She's fine. You're fine, Laura. They can hear you. Awesome. What else you got for me?
Batman the Dark Knight wants to know if you're excited for Batman 2021 and what would you like to see in it?
Oh my gosh. Let's see. I am excited about it because I like Matt Reeves and I loved his tone for the Planet of the Apes trilogy that he did. Well, 2 of the movies in that trilogy that he did. I loved his tone and feel that he brought to it. So if he could bring that tone and that feel to Batman, I'm gonna love it. So number 1, that's what I want to see in that. Number 2, I don't think they're going to do this, but here, if we're going into my dream world and what I want to see, I've been reading those Earth One comics, and I've talked about it a lot on my channel and other people's channels, so stop me if you've heard this one. But Batman Earth One is freaking fantastic. It is a great Batman origin story, a great Batman comic, and it could be easily done not as an origin story, but just like early in his career. And the way that they handled Penguin in that was incredible. The way they tied Penguin to the death of his parents without it being Penguin that killed his parents. And that's as much as I'm going to say, because if you haven't read it, it's short, it's great, it's fantastic, and it has a unique spin on all the characters, including Alfred and Penguin and all that. I don't know. I would love to see that. That Batman Earth One made into a film is what I would like to see. She Venom says, congrats. Thank you so much, She Venom. I really appreciate it. What else you got, Laura?
Tommy Gibbons wants to know what your thought on World War Hulk series is.
World War Hulk series. Have not read it. But that sounds absolutely fantastic. Tell me more about it. I mean, just by that title, I'm kind of sold, and I want to dive into it. I kind of know more about Marvel from the movies than I do from the comics, to be honest with you. Few things I caught from Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the animated series, which I hope is out on Disney Plus, so I can watch that when it comes out. But yeah, I watched the Planet Hulk movie, but I don't know too much about it otherwise. Tell me more. Tell me more. Okay, Laura, what else do you got next?
Mary Smith wants to know if you want a Spider-Verse sequel.
I'd be curious to see what they would do, and I'm not opposed to it. It's just that first one was so good. I mean, we can all agree on that, can't we? Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was just so good. So if they're going to make a sequel, that's cool. I'm all for it. But they should really take their time, hammer out that story, and do the unique thing with the animation again. So I am all for it, but because of how much I was surprised by the first one, the bar is a little bit higher, so I just hope if they're going to do another one, they should take their time. Go ahead, Laura. What's the next one?
Jeremy Hobbs wants to know if you're looking forward to the reboot of Suicide Squad.
Jeremy Hobbs, reboot of the Suicide Squad. The answer is no. I mean, I am curious about it. I mean, James Gunn. And I know with that first Suicide Squad, they were trying to make that like their Guardians of the Galaxy of the DCEU. Like, you could just tell that's the feel they were going for. And now they got the Guardians of the Galaxy writer and director himself to work on it. So that does kind of pique my interest a little bit more. So I am curious because of that. But there was nothing about that first one that was good. And any idea of building off of that or rebooting that, or I don't know. It's just not appealing to me to try to keep going from like their worst mistake. That's just my opinion, though. That's my opinion. What else we got, Laura?
So there's 2 people asking about different theological analysis. Chandler Videos wants to know if you'd ever do one for Blues Brothers, and Josiah I lost his last name. Josiah wants to know if you would do the 7 Deadly Sins anime.
Oh man. First off, I've never seen the 7 Deadly Sins anime, but I'm open to check that out. Thank you for putting that on my radar. The Blues Brothers, I have not seen in many, many years, but that movie was pretty darn hilarious. So to answer your question, to sum it up nice and easy, oh yeah, I would be interested to do that. Those are good ideas. What else you got, Laura?
Well, Batman Big fan said, "I will always support you till the end of the line."
Thank you so much. And I love the Captain America quote. Thank you, man. That means so much.
I misplaced who did this, but what other DC movies do you want to see adapted into the DCEU?
I'm looking forward to that Green Lantern Corps because he deserves a good movie. So that's probably the biggest one that I want to see adapted into the DCEU. I don't know if I like the rumors I heard about the buddy cop thing. I don't know if they've abandoned that or not. Again, I'm going to harp on Earth One, and I have it right back there on my wall. See that right there? That is right there. There. That's Green Lantern Earth One Volume One, and that's what I really want to see on the big screen. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. I'd love to see Martian Manhunter folded into it. Hawkman would be really cool. He's got kind of a fascinating story. By that, I mean his story in Smallville and not his story on the present CW shows. So I would love to see Hawkman kind of get folded into that. And so, yeah. And maybe some of the Flash villains. Like, I mean, how cool would it be to see a DCEU Flash go up against a DCEU version of Zoom? So there's a few characters like that I would love to see folded into the DCEU. What else we got?
Tyler wants to know Detective Pikachu or Sonic the Hedgehog?
Detective Pikachu, for sure. You know, I will say, because that Sonic trailer is getting a lot of hate, probably deservedly so. I don't know. Like, I didn't think it looked too bad. I thought, but that's because I went in with the lowest of expectations. I didn't play a lot of Sega growing up. I had a Nintendo loyalty, so I've always had a loyalty to Mario over Sega and Sonic. So I have played a few Sonic games. I just don't have this huge attachment to it. So perhaps with those eyes and watching the trailer, it's like, it's an interesting trailer. Why is Gangster's Paradise the music that they picked for a Sonic the Hedgehog? Oh, my wife. So it's like, so there were things that were very bizarre about that trailer. If it was a straight to Netflix movie, yeah, I'd be on that. Like, that'd be more exciting to me. The fact that it's coming out on the big screen, I don't know. Jim Carrey looks okay in it, but really what I'm looking forward to is Detective Pikachu.
So Devaney said, "Thanks for the Hunger Games symbolism. It's helping me with my essay."
Awesome. I'm so glad. I think you made that comment on that video a little while back. So I'm glad that that can help you as you work on that essay. That's really cool.
Josiah Jenks asked, "What is your opinion on VeggieTales coming back?"
I'm kind of excited. I haven't watched that new preview yet, but I did see that that new preview was posted. I mean, I remember being in 6th grade and my friend Sean would sit next to me on the bus and he'd start singing, "Everybody has a water buffalo. Yours is fast, but mine is slow. Everybody's got a water buffalo." And I was like, "What is that?" And so because of him, I started watching VeggieTales when I was in 6th grade. So I think it's kind of cool that VeggieTales is coming back. Hopefully they'll do another movie. I like Jonah. The movie they did, it was okay. It wasn't like the best of animated movies, but it's got potential to be some good animated movies out of that.
Driscoll Bros wants to know if you saw the horrible Dora Explorer trailer.
I did. Oh, I did. Yeah, I did. And no. Not, I'm not seeing that.
All right. Robert wants to know how you think they're going to use Darth Sidious in the Rise of Skywalker.
How do I think they're going to use Darth Sidious in the Rise of Skywalker? I don't know. I think I came across the headline rumor that he's been alive somehow all this time and survived. I hope not. Because I think what would be most interesting is, so we know about those on the light side of the Force that die and they're Force ghosts. But what happens to those that have been on the dark side? What happens when they die? Are there dark side Force ghosts? That's what I want to see. So when we get into the rise of the Skywalker, when we get into the rise of Skywalker, that's what I'm most curious about. And I kind of hope it is that direction because I would like to really see that. Now, if there's something in the other books and stuff, because I haven't read the extended universe, let me know here in this live chat if there's more about that, about Ghost on the dark side of the Force, because I would like to know a little bit more about that. And I do hope they would do that in the movie, even if it's not in the extended universe. That would be a very, very curious thing to explore.
Sticking with Star Wars, Movie Man wants to know what your thoughts on the Star Wars fan bases.
Movie Man wants to know my thought on the Star Wars fan base. You know, I think the toxic part is probably a very small part. But as it usually is, that very small toxic part is the loudest. And that's what's annoying. A lot of the Star Wars fan base that I've talked to are very polite. Some love Last Jedi, some hate Last Jedi, some love Solo, some hate Solo, and some love it passionately and hate it passionately, and yet can carry on a normal conversation without condemning another human being for their opinion over a piece of fiction. And so a lot of the people that I know personally are fantastic. And I'm part of that fan base. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like this super diehard Star Wars fan, but I love Star Wars. So I would think I am part of that fan base. But it's that small percentage that is that toxic fan base that is the absolute loudest, that is kind of irritating. And I hate it when they, number one, try to just spoil things on random videos and spoil plot lines and things that have nothing to do with it. And number two, I just hate that toxicity and the arguing. So when The Rise of Skywalker comes out, my goal is to enjoy it. I love J.J. Abrams. I loved The Force Awakens. I'm excited to see J.J. Abrams come back and what he's going to do with this conclusion. So I'm going into it very hopeful, very positive, and really hoping for the best. And if I'm disappointed, I'm disappointed. And I'll talk about it and I'll be honest about it, but I won't be toxic. And I don't want other people to be toxic either. What else we got, Laura?
Driscoll Bros says he thinks he's the only one extremely excited for the Dark Phoenix.
I'm not extremely excited, but it does look good. I am looking forward to it. You can't be the only one that is like extremely excited. There are others out there. And you can sound that off in the chat. This is a safe place. And those trailers look really good to me. They really do. I mean, there's all these rumors and they pushed it back so many times. Whatever. That's Hollywood. That's the business. That's just making movies. I mean, maybe they really did see a problem and thought we can fix that. And so that's why they pushed it back to fix something that would have been bad, but now will be good. So you never really know. And the trailers encourage me. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. It could be bad. I don't know. But to me right now, it looks like a good movie.
Batman Big Fan wants to know who you would like to be the next Batman.
Batman Big Fan wants to know who would I want to be the next Batman. Honestly, I want an unknown. I really do. I want an unknown in their early to mid 20s. Because then you got a young person who could carry a franchise for 10 to 11 years. A little Deadpool humor there. Anyway, but I like the idea of an unknown more than I like trying to pick an actor out of the air, because it's really hard for me in my imagination to pick actors that I've seen and throw the Batman mantle on them. And I have a very good imagination. And I'm one of those few that like Batfleck. Like, I liked him. I thought he was a good Batman. I wish they would have stuck to the vision of that older Batman. We could have seen that Batman till he either hangs up the cowl or sacrifices his life. It would have been cool to have seen like where his Batman was going to go, keeping with the vision and kind of the grit that he had in BVS, because Batman is supposed to be dark and gritty. But yeah, since we're doing the recast, give me somebody young, and I would love unknown. That's what I want more than just picking an actor that I've seen.
Driscoll Bros really wants to mess with you. They want you to do a theological analysis on the Emoji Movie.
Driscoll Brothers. It probably could be done. From what I've seen in the trailers, like there's kind of a message there for it.
He also wants to know if you're going to be seeing Long Shot.
Yes, actually, I will be seeing it probably Friday evening. So probably Friday night to early Saturday morning, or Saturday afternoon. Saturday morning, I'm doing a Narnia video. I'm excited. Returning to Narnia, and I'm doing a theological analysis for Voyage of the Dawn Treader. So I'm super excited to do that. But yeah, it will be up probably Friday night then that you will see my review for Long Shot.
So Matt wants to know, have you read any non-hero comics? I recommend Saga. It's a space odyssey meets Game of Thrones. I think you would like it. Keep up the good work.
Wow. That description of a space odyssey meets Game of Thrones has already sold me. So I will look up Saga. The only other comic that I've read that wasn't superhero, one of my friends started buying me these Star Wars comics, but they were the alternate like universe Star Wars comics, like the first draft that George Lucas wrote where Luke Skywalker is an aged mentor. So this is not even like, a rough cut of what he was going to do with the new trilogy. This is seriously like the first thoughts that he had for like the original trilogy. So I got about halfway through that series. I was like earning my associate's degree at the time. So I had read it for a certain amount of time and then just got too busy and didn't get back to it. But it was really good.
She Venom wants to know if you have any Venom comics.
No, I have not any Venom comics. To be honest with you, if you were to come to look at my comic collection, like it's down here under the shelf, it's all DC. That's because that's what I grew up on. I've come to know Marvel through the MCU, and I have a brother-in-law who loves X-Men. So I picked up a few X-Men comics, and I thought they were really smart and really cleverly written. So I need to pick up, more Marvel. So yeah.
Josiah Jenks says, I hope Jim Carrey doesn't break his back trying to carry Sonic movie.
Oh man.
He broke his back trying to carry Batman.
Yeah, he did break his back trying to carry Batman Forever. Oh my gosh. I didn't remark about this in my trailer reaction, so I'll say it now. There's parts of the 90s Jim Carrey that I liked. And I'm kind of excited to see what looks like that 90s Jim Carrey come back. At the same time, it was a little jarring because I haven't seen that side of him in so long. So I'll be anxious to see his performance in this movie. Wait, who would win a fight, Driscoll Brothers? He says, who would win in a fight, Ryan O'Toole or Thanos? Hey, Ryan O'Toole, if you're watching this, just know that I love you. I do. You would lose. Thanos would crush you with a snap. All right, what do we got?
Would you like to see Thor versus Adam Warlock in Guardians 3?
That'd be interesting. What I know of Adam Warlock comes from my friend the Cholo Nerd, who comes on here. And so he's told me a lot about Adam Warlock, and Adam Warlock sounds like a pretty cool character. So yeah, I'd love to see Thor go up against that guy.
Do you think there's going to be I don't remember who posted this, but do you think you're going to get a fourth Thor movie?
I just saw a rumor today that was in discussions. So it's all rumor because nothing about Phase 4 is really getting officially announced till after Spider-Man Far From Home. So keep in mind, it's a rumor that I heard on the internet, and it was a headline. So I didn't stop to click it. But, it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, they're working on Thor's contract, or Chris Hemsworth's contract, to get him in a Guardians 3 and possibly a Thor 4. And I thought that was interesting. Again, just a headline, and I saw it on the internet. So that could be 110% false, but I would love a Thor movie, and I definitely want to see him in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Josiah wants to know if you're looking forward to the new Joker movie.
Yes, I am looking forward to the new Joker movie. I think it looks very promising. Joaquin Phoenix's performance just in the trailer alone, made my skin crawl. So I am looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with that movie. And all the rumors that little kid that's in there is Bruce Wayne. It's interesting. So Joker will be a senior citizen when he's Batman, but that's interesting. Go on. What do you got?
So these two questions kind of go together. Devaney asked, how long have you been doing this? And Jeremy said, what draws me to your YouTube channel is your theological analysis. When did you decide to start your YouTube channel? Did you want to do more than just movie reviews?
Yes. When I started, so Jeremy, to answer your question, and
Devaney.
Yeah. And who?
It's Devaney.
Devaney and Jeremy, both of you together. To answer, I've been doing YouTube now. In October will be 4 years. And when I started this channel 3 years ago, I started it on the idea of the theological analysis. That was the idea that began this channel. My brother-in-laws come out every summer. And so we always go see movies together. And because, we're all Christians, so we're driving home and man, we're reading deep into these movies. And I used to call it not theological analysis, but reading way too much into, because I just thought of me and my brother-in-laws just reading way too much into movies and finding all this crazy symbolism. And it was such a great conversation. I was like, now there's an idea for a YouTube channel. So the theological analysis was the idea that started Durbania. And then I was like, but I also love talking about movies, so I started reviews. And then when I saw people doing rankings, namely Sean Chandler, I was like, wow, that's a really cool idea. Another opportunity. So, it's grown from there to the rankings, to the trailer reactions and all that stuff. But the idea that launched it was me and my brother-in-laws doing our own theological analyses in the car, driving home from movies whenever they came out to visit.
So Batman Big Fan said, is Endgame your favorite MCU movie? And what did you love and hate in Endgame? Without spoilers.
Yeah, without spoilers. So what did I love and hate with Endgame? So Endgame is my favorite of the MCU just because 11 years of buildup and that still didn't disappoint. I mean, all the hype that we had, and that was an epic conclusion. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, that's what I loved about it. And I also loved the action sequences. I loved the stories. I love what they did with the characters and how the snap impacted them and kind of what drove them after the snap. I just thought all of that was so incredibly smart. So I saw the movie for the second time today. And I have to say, that whole portion of the movie, right before they put their plan into motion, it was much slower to me the second time around than it was the first time around. But that's probably because the first time was the fresh eyes, the excitement, the hype. I had a theater that was hooting and hollering and cheering. Today I was in a matinee and they were sitting there in dead silence. So like that whole section went a little bit longer. And the Russo brothers released an explanation today about the plan that they did. I could say what the plan is, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody. The point is there are parts in the Russo brothers explanation that I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I liked that explanation. I liked what I made up in my head better, the way I interpreted it better. But that doesn't diminish my excitement for the movie. Oh, and Captain Marvel. Like the second time watching it, her character is just a tad bit condescending. And like you could almost do the movie without her. And that's not to bash Captain Marvel. Like her movie was good. I enjoyed her movie. And if they go forward with her, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do because she is a very powerful character. And I love Superman. So I think powerful superheroes are just awesome. So I'd be looking forward to see what they do with her in the future. It's just the way they used her in this movie. It's like, yeah, some of the scenes she showed up for was really cool. But at the same time, you probably could have accomplished the same thing without her. So I don't know. So those are kind of my negatives.
So She Venom said two things. One was can't wait to see Carnage, and the second was the best Batman to me was Arkham Knight Batman game.
Yes, the Arkham Knight Batman game is fantastic. And that trilogy just needs to be a live action film. I mean, the story in that Arkham Knight gameplay is just incredible. So I 100% agree with you. And yeah, Carnage looks cool. So like especially the post-credit scene in Venom, it's like, okay, I'm down for that. I'd be curious to see, what they're going to do with Carnage. I also hope that they take the Tom Holland Spider-Man and roll him into this verse and then explain where Venom took place. Was it before the snap? Was it after the snap? Where did this Venom story, or during the period of the snap? Like, so where was the Venom story in the midst of that? So things like that, I'd be curious to know.
The Gaming Geek wants to know what happened to Rapthorn.
He moved. He moved to what state was it, Laura?
I think South Dakota.
It was one of the Dakotas for sure, and I'm pretty sure it was South Dakota. So that's what happened to him. He moved to South Dakota, and I definitely miss Rapthorn. He is an awesome, awesome dude. And so next time he's in town, I'll definitely give him a call and try to get him on here.
So Driscoll Bros says, I don't know why, but out of all the MCU movies confirmed to come out, I'm most excited for Doctor Strange 2. What are you most excited for?
Well, currently I'm very excited for Spider-Man Far From Home because I really like Spider-Man and I really like this version of Spider-Man. I'm anxious for a Black Panther 2. But yeah, Doctor Strange is one of my favorite MCU movies. I love Doctor Strange and I love Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. And I forget the villain's name of the friend who turned villain. But I would love to see that guy return in Doctor Strange 2 and, see where that's going to develop in the MCU.
So Josiah says, have you ever read Dark Knight's Metal? Great imagining of multiple Batmans turning evil. The Bat Who Laughs in particular was fascinating.
That sounds incredibly fascinating. I have not. So I will have to go pick that up. I still haven't read Batman Hush, but now that we have an animated movie coming out about that, it's kind of like, oh, hush. I just want to see it in the movie now. All right, go on, Laura.
Thoughts on a future Dr. Fate DCEU movie?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Tommy wants to know what are your thoughts on a future Dr. Fate DCEU movie?
Dr. Fate DCEU movie.
I think of Dr. Fate from Smallville.
Oh, Dr. Fate. I'm sorry.
There it is.
Oh my gosh, my brain had to connect to who Dr. Fate was. Yes, actually, I would be beyond fascinated for a Dr. Fate movie. And it's because of Smallville. I didn't know who that character was until Smallville. And the way he was portrayed in Smallville was just so cool. And the way he gave Clark Kent the prophecy about his future and all that stuff. Oh my gosh, it was awesome. And then in Suicide Squad, Hell to Pay, the Dr. Fate plotline in that was one of the things that made that movie one of my favorite DC animated movies. So yeah, DCEU, if they would make a Dr. Fate movie, I am so down. I will be right there to see that.
Sean Austin wants to know if you would consider doing a book review on the last day of Days of Krypton.
Yes, I am finishing up a super long C.S. Lewis book right now, That Hideous Strength, the third book in the Space Trilogy. And then when that is over, I will make that my plan to pick up the Last Days of Krypton book again. I actually have it like sitting right over there on the shelf. I haven't read it since I was in college, I think. So I need to reread it, and then I could do a book review on that.
Sean Austin also said that's really cool about how you started your channel. Incredible. I'm the same way.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Driscoll Bros wants to know if you think we'll get an Ant-Man 3.
I hope so. My gosh, I love Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, and I just thought those are just fun movies. They really are. They're the type of Marvel movies that you could just kind of turn on and you don't have to think at all. Like you could just laugh hysterically. And Scott Lang, like the way Paul Rudd portrays him, there's like such like an innocence and a joy to that character. He's just fun to watch on screen. So, they're not epic stories and they don't have to be. I like them for what they are. So yeah, I want Ant-Man 3. I think that'd be great for a continuation of the MCU.
Levi wants to know if you could do a review of the original Circle trilogy by Ted Dekker. Love seeing you review the new book.
Yes. After I reviewed the 49th Mystic and the Rise of the Mystics, I thought about that. I've actually been sending my sister the Circle trilogy books, and she has been devouring them. So yeah, I would love to go back and do those. And I got them on, the audiobooks. So I can actually probably get through those a little bit faster. So that's a good idea. And I'm glad you requested that because those are great, great books. So, there's your first review right there. A+ on the trilogy as a whole.
Movie Nerds wants to know if you're excited for the new He-Man movie starring Noah Centineo as He-Man.
Yes. I don't know anything about that new He-Man movie. But what I do know is I love Masters of the Universe. I don't care if it's technically a bad movie now. I rewatched that as a grown-up and I went, oh my gosh, this totally holds up. All they have to do is take this movie and like update the graphics. I mean, I don't know if you've seen Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren, but my gosh, if you haven't seen it, see it. Is it bad? Yeah, but it's the good kind of bad. I love that. So, yeah, I don't know much of anything about this new He-Man movie that's coming out, and I need to do a little bit more homework on that. But I did see that it was on the docket to come out, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. I'm down to give that movie a shot.
So, Ken said, I'm sad that Star Trek went south.
Mm-hmm.
Too many timelines.
They did.
Do you like the explanation of timelines that the MCU did?
No, I don't. It's not that it's bad. It actually works for the MCU and it works for what they were trying to do for that movie without hitting any more spoilers than that. Time travel is just so hard to do. And I think that's why Star Trek got really, I don't know. Anyway, that's just I don't know. Yeah, time travel is just super hard. Fun fact, Durbin is from Krypton. Thank you, Driscoll Brothers. Thank you so much. Yes, let's go with that.
She Venom asks, have you watched or played Transformers Fall of Cybertron?
No. Is it a good game? And what system is it on? Because all I got right now is a Nintendo Switch.
Gaming Geek, as you were talking about Dr. Fate, said he's playing Dr. Fate in Injustice 2 right now.
Oh, nice. Is he a good character? Do you win with Dr. Fate?
Let's see. Ooh, just your average Joe is watching through Smallville at the moment.
Yes. So Average Joe, how are you liking it? Where are you at and how are you liking it? I have a love-hate relationship with Smallville. When it went bad, it was so horrible. But when it went good, it was so great. I got to rewatch that whole series again. Oh, I'm gonna. Okay. What do we got next?
Jack Sparrow asked if you know why all the rum is gone.
Sadly, it's because Jack Sparrow keeps drinking it. And he's so drunk, he forgot that he drank it. What's our next one, Laura?
Sorry, you can let Mary Smith know that you did talk about the Spider-Verse sequel. She missed it. She had to step away.
Sorry.
So it's probably in the first 10 minutes.
Yes, it's probably like in those first 10 or 20 minutes. But yeah, to sum it up, I would like to see it, but I would definitely hope that they take their time because that first one was just so excellent. They need to make sure this reaches the bar.
Let's see here. We're getting almost done with questions.
Oh my gosh. Well, come on, guys. Let's round this out here to an hour. Let's get some.
Tommy wants you to do a theological analysis on The Exorcist or The Omen.
Oh, I haven't seen The Exorcist or The Omen, but that's also because Cody Leach and Lee from Dum Drums have not yet, put that on my plate to watch. They kind of been my mentors in that because I didn't grow up watching horror movies at all, so I'm kind of a newbie in that whole genre of film. So a huge shout out to Cody Leach and Lee from Drum Dums for walking me through the genre and leading me into some pretty darn good movies, because those have been some of my favorite theological analyses. So yeah, I'll check them out.
The Gaming Geek wanted to let you know that he met Dolph Lundgren at Comic Con.
Did you ask him about He-Man? Wow.
Do you think, this is from Batman Big Fan, do you think Marvel would do a Ms. Marvel film?
Who's Ms. Marvel?
She's like, I guess she's, I don't know.
I'm not so versed in Marvel.
Sure.
So you'll have to, I'm sorry, I hate that. I got it. See, grew up DC. Sorry.
Okay, Jeremy Hobbs wants to know, have you seen the trailer for Brightburn? If yes, what are your thoughts?
I have seen both trailers for Brightburn, and they look really, really good. I am very curious to see this movie. It feels kind of like an Elseworld DC movie. Like, what if Superman turned evil as a child? I mean, gosh, I'm fascinated by it. And it's interesting that the trailers are ripping off hard. I mean, they are ripping off the trailers for that first Man of Steel movie, but in a good way that works for what they're going for. So I am very much looking forward to Brightburn, and I kept missing the opportunities to react to the trailers, but they look fantastic, and I'm very excited.
Levi said, could you maybe do some more theological analysis on scenes from Lord of the Rings? The Aragorn Mouth of Sauron scene was one of my favorites as well. And what do you think about the new Tolkien movie?
I think I'm kind of excited about the new Tolkien movie. I kind of haven't checked out any of those trailers yet. I don't know why. I just haven't, but I know it's coming, and I'm very curious to see it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the Tolkien movie. And dude, I would love to dive into more Lord of the Rings scenes. So thank you for tossing that out there. And it just, gets the creativity buzzing now. It's like, all right, cool. Let's do that. Hey, Voyage of the Dawn Treader this Saturday. So, haha.
Driscoll Bro says Chris Hemsworth is directing Durbin Solo movie.
Yes, let's do it. Let's get Hemsworth on the phone. Let's have my people talk to his. Let's get that rolling.
Jack Sparrow wants to know how many times you cried in Endgames.
Well, the first time I saw it, I think all my tears came at the end. Yeah, I think they all came at the end. And I think I cried probably 3 or 4 times, especially with Spider-Man and other stuff that I just realized is about to spoil. So I'm going to stop.
So Batman Big Fan wanted to let you know Ms. Marvel is an Eastern teen girl. She is a hero. Kevin Feige teased her she might have her own movie in the Marvel Phase 4.
Sweet. Well, you know what? I trust Kevin Feige. The MCU has not given me a reason to distrust them. So MCU, you can have my money. So you work on that and you make it work.
Tommy Gibbons wants to know what your thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984 are.
I am very nervous about it. That kind of sums up the whole of my thoughts. Wonder Woman was so good. Like, it was such a good movie. And when Chris Pine, Steve Trevor dies at the end, like, that was such an amazing scene. And then all those set photos where you have Chris Pine walking around in 80s clothing. And then, that last Comic-Con where Patty Jenkins said it's a sequel, but not a sequel. Like, stuff like that makes me very nervous. Because, like, what does that mean? So I hope whatever they do, it doesn't undercut the sacrifice of Steve Trevor. That's what I'm really hoping. I expect that it'll be good because, I mean, I like Patty Jenkins. I really like the first one, but just the whole Steve Trevor being back thing has me nervous.
What are your thoughts on Superman 4?
It's a terrible movie. I was gonna say it's so bad it's good, but it's hardly that. Oh my gosh. It's it's fun. Like, if you want to have a bad movie day and you want to invite friends over and you want to have some nachos and pizza and wings, then yeah, it's a fun movie that you could sit there and laugh at. But it's kind of tragic when you know some of the backstory that Christopher Reeve put a lot of passion into writing that, kind of the message that he wanted to send with it. And then all the budget, like, it had like no budget. It's like, I mean, take all the nightmare that we've heard behind the scenes of the DCEU and now take that nightmare and put it into one film. And so it's like that's Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. And you can just see that in the production of it. It's like so many great ideas, so much wasted potential.
Sean wants to know what kind of biblical films would you love to see adapted to the big screen? The life of David, Jonah, Acts.
Yeah. Well, I would love it if Mel Gibson would make his Passion of the Christ sequel, because that would definitely be the Book of Acts. And he did such a great job with Passion of the Christ. That's what I want to see. So if I'm going to see the Book of Acts put on the big screen, let's do it with Mel Gibson as his sequel to Passion of the Christ. You know what I'd love to see about King David is I'd like a King David trilogy. I mean, we know so well, him taking on Goliath. So that's movie number 1. How about movie number 2 be his mid-career, and movie number 3 being when his kids are trying to chase him down and kill him? So he had the King Saul trying to chase him down and kill him in movie number 1, and now you come all the way to movie number 3 and you bookend it. Now his own kids are trying to kill him. And so, you can see what a difficult life this guy had. I mean, so many victories, so many defeats, so much persecution, so much struggling with his inner demons. If you broke that up into a good trilogy, it would be fantastic. I feel the same about the whole Exodus. You could do a trilogy out of that. You got Moses, and then you got Moses and the sign and the desert. But then Joshua, man, end it with Joshua. That would be one action-packed film, man. And not just like fighting other people. He's fighting giants. He's fighting the Nephilim, man. These things are so big. All the, Israelites are like, we're like grasshoppers to them. I want to see that. That would be incredible to take that stuff and bring it to film. Anyway, enough said there. What else you got for me, Laura?
You can't fully answer this question. It's what's your take on how Smallville and Gotham compare to each other?
Well, I can tell you what my struggle was, because I stopped Gotham about 5 episodes in. It just didn't grab me. Now I've been watching the previews for the series finale, and I'm curious to watch the series finale of Gotham. In fact, I cheated and maybe watched the final scene on YouTube. But Smallville was great because the whole thing had a direction of what it was going towards. And not only did it have the direction of Superman's destiny, it was very destiny filled. Because he's an alien, because he's kind of got this supernatural thing going on, you could do a lot of supernatural stuff with prophecy and destiny. You have the interesting thing of the fact that he's growing up with powers. I mean, my gosh, it's season 2 when he's cute teacher teaching a class and it's super hot outside, and she's really attractive, so he gets really attracted to her and then shoots fire out of his eyes. It's hysterical. The different ways that he learns that he has powers, what those powers are, and how he deals with them is so interesting. And so what lost me with Gotham was the lack of that. Maybe my expectation was totally wrong, but there's very few cop shows and cop dramas that I like. So you take Gotham City and you make it a cop drama and you take out the superhero, I'm less excited about it. Now, I've seen all the rumors and stuff. We throw in Poison Ivy, we throw in Bane, we throw in the birth of like the Joker, or who we think is the Joker. And all. So it's like, oh, maybe I should have stuck with it. So I think the show is now done. And then I'll have to go through and see where it's streaming and maybe binge the whole thing.
Levi wants to know if you have plans to play Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Switch.
Is it on the Switch? Well, then yes. Yes, I will have plans to play Marvel Alliance 3. That sounds awesome.
Another hard one to answer for you. What is your favorite scene in the Bumblebee movie?
I did not see the Bumblebee movie.
Traveling.
Yeah, Bumblebee came out at the worst possible time for me. Last Christmas, you had all these epic movies all opening at the same time, on top of the fact that I was flying to Ohio for Christmas. So I really had to pick and choose what I wanted to do. I was so excited I got an early screening for Aquaman. You have no idea. I was almost going to miss Aquaman. I almost would have had it up like a few weeks late just because of my travel plans. But thankfully, we found a way to see it early, and I got to see it early, and I got to get a review up. And so Bumblebee sort of fell through the cracks. Reason number 1, because of the crazy schedule that was going on in December. And reason number 2, I really don't like the Transformer movies. The first one's okay. I could watch the first one and it's entertaining. I like the second one up until the ending, and then it loses me. Don't like the third one, the fourth one, or is it the fifth one? I've lost count. So Bumblebee didn't super entice me, but then I kept hearing how good it was and how different it was. So it's on my radar to check out.
Mary says, do you think you would do videos on M. Night Shyamalan's movies, as it seems they speak about faith? You've done a couple.
Yeah, I've done a couple of those. I did one on Signs. I don't know if you saw that one. That was really fun. So I did that. I did Unbreakable, and I did Split, and I did Glass. So yeah, and man, The Village also has some tremendous stuff. So I could go back and I could definitely look at The Village. Lady in the Water's got some pretty good faith things going on. Well, you know what? They all do. I love the way M. Night Shyamalan wrote those, what I call his golden years in those movies. Like, all those movies to me are just like so good. So there's a lot of gold to go back to, and I should do that for sure. I did do Signs, however, and I did the Unbreakable trilogy.
Levi wants to know if you could do a theological analysis on Princess Bride.
Oh, that's a good idea, Levi. Yes, I can. So I'll have to we'll have to write that down in the calendar and go check out that movie. That's a great movie. Yes.
The Film Addict says, do you think Henry Cavill is truly done playing Superman? Because he really wants him back as Superman.
You know what? I'm with you. I really want Henry Cavill back as Superman. So I can only speculate based on rumors. So here's the rumors that I've heard. Henry Cavill loves the character of Superman and wants to stick with that character. So yeah, I think Henry Cavill wants back as much as you want him back and as much as I want him back. I think it's just money talk, honestly. And I think things got weird with the money talk. Cavill wanted more money. The studio didn't want to give him more money. Again, this is all rumors that I'm speculating here. So I think it kind of depends on how his Netflix series, The Witcher, is going to do. So, you know, if it does really good, he might be worth that more money, and maybe they won't want to pay him that still. Or maybe, depending on the success, they will want to pay him. I don't know. Like, when Hollywood gets so weird about the money, I lose it. Like, it's like, come on, just give me my movies. You're all making multi-millions. Get over it and make $1 million less. What's that? If you're making 20 million and you wanted 21 million, just get over it and do the movie so people can love you for these characters that you're playing. Gosh. Anyway, I hope that Warner Brothers and Henry Cavill work it out, because I'm not done with that Superman either. I want to watch that guy go up against Brainiac. Like there's stuff that I want to see.
BJ2K wants to know your opinion on who is the best actor in the MCU so far.
You could not have asked a more difficult question, because there's so much about Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man that I love. But Steve Trevor, man, he's just been the absolute heart and soul. And then you had Chris Pratt, who went from being Andy Dwyer on Parks and Rec to freaking Star-Lord. And he's just done an amazing job. Oh, man. There's so many actors and characters that are just so good, but I'm going to have to go. I'm just going to have to go with Captain America. I love Chris Evans' portrayal of that character. He has done a strong and faithful character all the way through this series, and it was perfect the way it went in Endgame.
Chris wants to know, what are your post-Endgame hopes?
My post-Endgame hopes. Hope number one, I hope Spider-Man Far From Home is fantastic. And I hope Sony and Marvel still play together, because I don't mind Spider-Man having his own movies with Venom and all that stuff, but I love him being a part of the Avengers and the bigger, greater MCU. Like, I just think that's so cool. As much as we're probably all done with reboots, I said this a little bit earlier, I'd like to see what Marvel will do with Fantastic Four. Like, that would be very curious to me to see, like, what are they going to do with these characters? How can they bring them to life in a way that they haven't been brought to life before? I would love to see that. I'd love to see their take on X-Men. I'm not sure that I'm sold on them being in the MCU, and I'm good to wait like 5 to 7 years before we even touch that whole property. But yeah.
So Batman Big Fan says he wants a Hawkeye movie.
A Hawkeye movie. That would be sweet.
Yeah, he says he deserves it.
Hawkeye does deserve his own movie. I agree with that completely.
Sean wants to know if you'd see a biblical film. Yeah. You've seen many.
I've seen many. Poor Christian movies. It depends on who's making it. Risen is an exception to my rule of not liking Christian movies. I really like Risen. There was a whole series of Bible-based movies that came out on TNT in the mid-90s. Abraham and Joseph and Moses. I don't know if you guys saw any of that. I thought those were really, really well done. I just feel like the new one that came out, Samson, like that was an obvious grab at the superhero market, and it wasn't even that great. And it didn't even have to do with the budget either. It's just how do you have like a bunch of Christians making a biblical film and then they ignore the Bible, and then and then it's not that he totally ignored it, but there's just some things in that I was like, where are you getting this? I don't know. Like, and it was cheesy. Like, you could just tell what it was going for. I would like an Exodus. Okay, now let's pick on the other side of this. Exodus was terrible. I did not like Exodus
Terrible.
at all. When you take God and you portray him as an angry 12-year-old kid throwing temper tantrums, it's like, no, I'm done. I'm done. That's just ridiculous what they did with the character of Moses, what they did with the character of God, and what they did with that story. That Noah was good until like they were on the ship. And then Noah goes nuts and he's like, well, we all got to die. So let's just make sure we all die. And it's like, oh my gosh. So take biblical material and base it off the book and make it good. Make it good.
Need to let Ken know that we are not talking Endgame because we don't want to do spoilers.
Oh, yeah, Ken, I said that earlier. I don't want to do in-game spoilers, but if you can ask me vague in-game questions.
Yeah, his question that he put on here was, do you think Thanos was easier to defeat because he had not gone through all the learning opportunities he gained dealing with those of us from Earth? So
Yeah.
I don't think you can really talk about that without spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, also that was at the very, very beginning, so it doesn't spoil a whole lot of plot stuff. But I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
Have you watched Jerome Bixby's The Man from Earth? This is from Art.
No, I have not watched that movie.
They're just wondering if you can make a theological analysis, but maybe you'd have to check it out.
Well, I will have to check it out. And so, please comment on another video too to remind me to check that one out, because that sounds cool.
Levi wants to know if you're watching the new Netflix Narnia series.
Oh, I will. Oh, I'm so excited about the Netflix Narnia series. I'm very curious to see what are they going to do with the Netflix Narnia series. How are they going to do like one movie per book? Or are they going to split the book up into like two separate parts, like they did with a Series of Unfortunate Events? So I'm very curious to see what they're going to do. Slightly nervous because I really want them to stick to how C.S. Lewis wrote the books. And so all of the faith message and the symbolism that is in the books, it's beyond powerful. And I mean, that's what the fan base wants, who love Narnia. Stick true to the faith of C.S. Lewis and the faith symbolism and stuff that he had in there. And you got me sold. You won't lose me. So yeah, I'm excited.
So KK Coding is a fellow YouTuber and says congrats and says,
Thank
do you
you.
have any tips for how to get more subs?
Yeah. There's a Chrome extension called vidIQ, and I would download that because what that can do is help you look at other YouTubers' videos, and you can actually see the tags that they're using. So you could go to like people got like 1 million subs or whatever, or like a video that's got like 1 million views, and kind of look at the tags that they placed on those videos that are similar to yours. And so you can see how they're kind of doing their SEO and their search engine optimization and stuff. Another one I use is called TubeBuddy, which is similar, and it will help you with your SEO. So like for me, one of the big things is SEO. Like that's like one of the principal rules to kind of just figure out. And so there are really cool tools on the internet that will help you with SEO. My two favorites are TubeBuddy and vidIQ, and I use those all the time. The other thing is just do your channel, be you, and have fun. As long as you're you and you're honest about what you like and you don't like, and you just bring that to the table, people are going to like you because of your unique voice. So don't be afraid to be you and don't let it burn you out. So just do your channel, love it, and, check out some of those other apps for, your SEO and things.
Josiah says, I would love to see Tim Burton and Don Bluth team up to adapt the Book of Revelation.
Wait, Tim Burton and who?
Don Bluth.
Don Bluth. Okay, sorry, my mind went to the Bluth family from
I
Arrested Development.
And it said their visual art styles would be amazing.
That would be cool. The Book of Revelation would be interesting because it's just, that's so hard to do. So like if you're doing it and you're trying to, literally tell the story of what John saw in his visions, that would be a unique take that I haven't seen. Because, you got movies like Left Behind and other stuff out that, literally try to tell a story in modern day of what could John have meant. But that'd be very interesting to take a movie and just be like, here's John's visions, and just put those up on the screen and make it like a visual masterpiece. That would be interesting.
So there's a handful of people just talking about Gotham, saying that the first season part of it was a mess, but it really stepped up its game.
I have heard that from so many people that yeah, I am going to go back and revisit it. I don't know when yet, but I will have to go back and revisit it, and it's definitely got to be one of the streaming things because that's the only way I know how to power through it. So I'm going to have to power through that first season and get to where it really, really steps up.
Driscoll Bros is saying do a theological analysis on Lord of the Rings. You did that already, right?
I've done it on scenes of Lord of the Rings. So yeah, I could definitely like pick Fellowship and do a whole analysis on that. That's kind of hard though, because like it's 3 movies, but it is one solid story. But I can do it. That'll be fun.
Another book review idea was Present Darkness by Frank Peretti.
That is a good one. Yeah. I actually just reread that one probably 6 months ago. So it already left my brain. So I have to reread that again, but that one would be a good one for a book review. It definitely has a lot of interesting things. As a quick review, the second time I read it once in high school, devoured it, and loved it. The second time I read it, it just did not hook me the same way. Doesn't mean it's bad. It's still really good, and it has a very unique perspective. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, this Present Darkness is written from the perspective of like the angels. So it's modern day, but the curtain is taken back and we can like see the spiritual realm. So when people pray, we see how that like empowers, like, lets the power of God flow to give angels strength to like do things or whatever, or what holds them back or what gives demons strength. And it's very interesting to have that curtain pulled back and actually see that war. So anyway, yeah, it's interesting.
The Gaming Geek says they're making Hawkeye TV series for Disney Plus.
I just recently heard about that. So I'm very curious about Disney Plus. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with all these different shows and stuff. I hope they're good. Sadly, the CW might have me slightly burned out on superhero shows right now, but man, I love the MCU, and these shows do sound kind of interesting.
So Brent Bromberg says, in the comic books, Rogue from X-Men gets her powers from Captain Marvel. She steals all her powers. What do you think about that if they put that into a movie?
To have Rogue get the powers of Captain Marvel. Yeah, I would definitely be interested to see that movie. Oh my gosh, that would be cool. All right, guys, we are a little bit over an hour here. So how about this, Laura? 5 more questions. How's that? So 5 more questions in this chat, and then we'll go ahead and call it a night. And again, before we dive into these last 5 questions, can I just say thank you all for sticking around and watching this live stream, and thank you all for subscribing to Derbania. I so appreciate it. Thank you for getting me up here to 5,000 subscribers. We're just so close to 10,000. Thank you guys so much. All right, Laura, let's do this.
Not a question, but I've got to know.
Okay.
Gaming Geek is willing to bet $500 that you haven't watched What We Do in the Shadows yet. I don't know what that is, so.
I don't know what that is either, so I guess you won the bet.
Good thing we didn't bet.
Yeah, good thing we didn't bet. Yeah, okay. You won that one.
Question: do you think Endgame is the last time we will see Thanos?
I hope so, because, well, I'm not going to say anymore. I just hope so, but I hope so for the best of reasons, because, yeah, anyway, yeah. But if he does come back, I'd be curious to see how they bring him back. I love Josh Brolin as Thanos. He's just so good.
Have you seen Good Omens?
I had a friend who tried to get me to read the book back in the day, and I didn't, and I kind of wish I did. The trailers look kind of funny. I'd be curious to check it out and see what the show is. So when it drops, I think it's Amazon. So when that, officially drops, I'll check it out.
I skipped around. I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
Jeremy wants to know, have you read Jaws, the novel? I don't think.
No, I haven't read the novel.
But you've done Jurassic Park novels.
Yeah, I've read the 2 Michael Crichton Jurassic Park novels, but I have not read the Jaws novel. So I'd be curious to read that. I like the movie a lot. The movie was really, really good.
If I missed your question, please post it.
Did you hear, Laura? If she skipped over your question, I think we got like 3 more left. Post it right now.
Oh, the Gaming Geek says, I talked about what to do in the shadows on your 2,000 subscriber question answer, and you said you'd watch it. Oh!
Oh!
You?
Oh!
Okay, I'm writing it down so we don't forget.
Oh, I have been gotten. Gosh. You know what, guys? I'm human. It happens. If I said I'll watch something, keep posting it somewhere, and I'll be like, oh, yeah. Awesome.
Durbin, do you like Durbania?
Should we count that
I
as a
know.
question? Yes, I like Durbania. I think Durbania is an excellent channel.
Lots of people saying congrats. Another I will
Thank you all.
support you till the end of the line.
I love the Captain America quotes.
I cannot read his full name. Damien Icon
Okay.
Scott says, I like the Arrowverse. I don't understand all the complaints at all.
Good. I'm glad that you like it. My complaints really are it just lost me completely in season 4. When it went all magical and all like weird, it lost me. And then it never got me back because what I loved about seasons 1 and 2 of Arrow was the focus on Arrow, on Oliver Queen in his story. And I did not like Team Arrow. And I didn't like what Team Arrow did to the character of Felicity. It's like suddenly she knew better than him, who had all of this training. I mean, she forced Oliver Queen to reveal his secret identity to a bunch of strangers that hadn't earned that trust. And one of those strangers betrayed his identity to his enemy. And we still try to pass it off that Felicity was right. And I'm just, so things like that keep on annoying me so much. If it doesn't bother you, don't let it bother you. Enjoy Arrow. But that's where I am on it. Like that's where I was struggling. I did not like Team Arrow. I did not like the Team Arrow Civil War series where like the team divided and was fighting each other. It's just like, oh, just don't.
Go Time Now said, thanks for always replying to comments. Hope you still can reply when you get your 1 million subscribers.
Well, thank you so much. You know, like that's seriously some of the most fun that I have on YouTube is replying to all of you guys. And I do miss some here and there. I really try not to. Sometimes on the rankings, it's hard to catch up because I get a lot of comments on those and sometimes on those trailer reactions too. But man, I really do try because I really do love chatting with you guys and getting to know you.
Batman Big Fan just says, congrats on 5K. You deserve it, bro. Love you all the way from Kuwait.
Oh, well, thank you so
That's
much.
probably the furthest person away that's on this right now.
Probably all the way from Kuwait. Thank you so much.
Mary Smith recommends a Book of Eli analysis. Great movie.
That is a fantastic movie and a great idea for an analysis.
All right. And then Driscoll Bros, who just said he's from Canada, says you like Paul Rudd.
I do like Paul Rudd. I do. I don't like all the movies he's been in, but I like him as an actor. I think he's really, really fun and love him as Ant-Man.
And then last one. Oh, well, 2 last ones. Gaming Geek says, congrats on 5K. Been watching you since 30.
Yes. 30 subs. Oh, nice.
And then Driscoll says, are you excited for Men in Black 4?
Yeah, actually. I'm not.
That's the last question.
Oh, and that would be the last question.
Sorry.
Unless you ask like a super deep one super fast. But anyway, no, I am looking forward to Men in Black International. I like the cast. I like seeing Thor and Valkyrie as our 2 leads in Men in Black International. Then we got Liam Neeson thrown in there. I think it's got great potential. I like the Men in Black series. The first one is by far the best, and that's easy to say. I do like the third one. Again, time travel, so it gets kind of dicey, but like it's still fun, and I like it better than the second one. But I like this cast, and I like the trailers that I've seen. I'm not overly excited, but I'm looking forward to it. I've had fun, Durbin. See you at 6K. Thank you, Gaming Geek. What are your goals and ambitions for this channel long term? That's a good question. My goals and ambitions. Really, what I want to do is just keep doing this, and I want to grow and expand on this. You know, like I started this channel on theological analyses, and then it began to be movie reviews, and then it took off to ranking videos, and then it took off into reacting to trailers. I'm excited to see what branch it's going to take off to next. I do have a couple of ideas that I just found in a folder. It's like, oh my gosh, how did I forget this? And then, like I was reading, like these are good ideas for the channel. So long term, here's what I want to do. I mean, I'd love to hit 1 million subs one day. How fantastic would that be? Is that where you get the golden play button? I want that play button. But man, I also want to continue to do this and kind of be a positive light on YouTube. I really do. And so that's kind of what I want to be. Like, even when I'm talking about a movie that I hate and I'm being honest about the fact that I hated it, I don't want to be toxic about that. I want us to be able to come here and let this be like a safe place where we can love Star Wars or hate Star Wars without judgment, and love DC but hate Marvel, or love Marvel but hate DC, and do that without judgment. So long term, that's what I want. I'd love to get all those different play buttons. I'd love to see this channel grow. But man, I just love making these videos. I love talking to you guys, and I'd love to continue to be kind of a light. Could you do a review of Under the Red Hood? Yes, I can. Okay, that will be the last question.
Oh, are you scared that Disney's buying all studios? Disney's taking over the world.
Disney is taking over the world. The only thing that scares me about that is the lack of competition. If there's no competition, what motivation do you have to like do better? I guess I don't know. So I don't know. I mean, Disney doesn't make bad movies, so it's not like I'm horribly upset by this, but it's like, yeah, what are you gonna do with the competition? All right. Is there anything else, Laura, that's jumping out at you?
Driscoll Bros just wants to know if you like Paul Rudd. He's commented on it like 5 times.
I like Paul Rudd. He's a good actor. He is a good Hey, Driscoll Brothers. Paul Rudd is a good actor. Right. Awesome. Well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and sign off right now because I think my wife is biting at the chomps to have some dinner and other stuff. So thank you, everyone. Say it with me. We love you. Oh, thank you, big Batman fan.
Mary, once this is done, it will be available on his videos.
Oh, yeah. So once this is done, you can just rewatch this from the beginning. I mean, it's only an hour and 15 minutes thus far, so you can just watch it from the beginning. And anything that you missed, we love Ryan Reynolds. Well, awesome. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him in oh my gosh, my brain stopped working. Detective Pikachu. I'm so excited for looking forward. I can't talk. You know what? That really does mean it's time to sign off. Thank you, Gaming Geek. Love you too. Love all of you guys. Thank you so much for subscribing to Derbania. Thank you so much. God bless you too, Levi. Thank you so much for bringing me up to 5K. That is just such an awesome milestone.
Oh, love you 3,000.
Oh, gosh. Can't say that now without a tear somewhere. Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, hey, I'm glad you had fun, Sean. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this live chat. Be sure to, check it out as it's, up there as a regular video, and got some great stuff coming up for you guys. So thank you again. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already to become a Derbanian, and hit the bell by it. That way you're notified for my next movie review, ranking video, or live chat video, trailer reaction, or anything else I do here. I'm Durbin. Thank you guys so much for joining.